Welcome back, everybody. Walk it off, talk it off. Episode 3, I believe it is now. It is Friday, February 20th. Spring training's underway. Actually, just finished watching the Yankees game. A lot of cool stuff there. But we're back with it. Rand, what's going on, man?
Yeah, like you said, spring training has begun. You got Pete Alonso hitting home runs off of Home Depot salesman. It's fun to watch ball. Obviously being Yankee fans, we watched most of that game. Saw Jazz get a nice little single in the first inning. Elmer Rodriguez Cruz looked great.
Yep.
And then there's only a couple games today, but I think tomorrow is like a full slate. So if you're a fan looking to check out some spring training ball this weekend, kicks it off, and there's a lot of baseball coming your way.
Yeah, tomorrow looks like everybody's going.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Yeah, tons of baseball coming up. Not too much going on now that we're getting into spring training starting. A lot of the off-season acquisitions, moves, that stuff kind of slows down, and we're just kind of rolling into teams playing. Now you'll just get updates on guys, see how guys are playing. If there could be some last minute moves made. Obviously, unfortunately, there's going to be some injuries. That's just the nature of the beast. But we do have some things that went down before spring training started today. I'll just start off with I just saw that apparently Max Scherzer and the Blue Jays are in some serious talks on a return.
Wow.
So other teams are involved apparently, but I did see that the Blue Jays remain the front runner for him. So it looks like maybe within the next
I think
couple
it's
days.
crazy that he hasn't been signed yet.
Yeah, I think so too. Because
I know he's in his 40s, but he gave some legitimate innings last year in a deep playoff run.
I mean, look at Justin Verlander. He's back in Detroit now. You know, if he can get signed in his age, and he did the same thing as Scherzer last year. So, but going off of that, speaking of returns, we got a couple of them. Paul Sewald, Zach Gallen, both back to Arizona. The Gallen signing was kind of cool for the Diamondbacks because they had offered him the qualifying offer at the beginning of free agency. He said, nope, I'm good. Went to go shop himself and see if he could get more elsewhere. For those of you who don't know, if a team offers the qualifying offer to a player and they decline it and sign elsewhere, that team gets a draft pick. However, Zach Gallen did not sign elsewhere. He didn't have any deals with anybody. Re-signed for the exact same amount that was the qualifying offer. But it is not a qualifying offer. It was just the same amount. And shout out to the D-backs for, standing on business with that. Hey, you don't want to take it, that's fine. Go, shop yourself elsewhere. But if you want to come back here, it's going to be the same exact money. It's nothing else is changing. So 1 year, what is it, 22 or 20 point something mil? So
and it's a prove it deal, man. He's coming off a probably a career worst year. Obviously Zach Gallen at his best is a borderline ace, I would say. He's a guy that I've wanted the Yanks to go after. I won't lie.
Same here.
And he's a Jersey guy, so we got to root for him. And I just think he's a stud. Like I love
me too.
Like he'll pull up with the rec specs on and he'll just gas you up.
I agree.
The Paul Sewald signing, it might seem kind of like low impact, but Paul Sewald's a guy that's thrown a lot of high leverage innings. And right now they have, I would say their two arguably best relievers are both on a 60-day IL, being AJ Puck and Justin Martinez. So to add a guy who's pitched, closed a fair share of ball games, pitched a lot of high leverage is, I think, a very good addition.
He was on that team that was in the World Series back in 2023. So
he was closing games for them.
Yeah, he was their closer. They got him at the deadline that year.
Yeah. So I mean, listen, as important as the Gallen bring back, I think it's important that they added a guy to maybe keep them in ball or close out some ball games for them until they get their their big guns back towards the end of the year.
No, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And sticking in the NL West, Max Muncy got extended. Kike Hernandez is back with the Dodgers, re-signing as a free agent. I like the Muncy deal, man. He's a cool story. He came up with the A's. Actually, I was watching a video, I think a couple of Saturdays ago. Jolly Olive, who's part of John Boy Media, he drops his own videos on his YouTube channel every Saturday. And he was doing like the best prove it like minor league deals in recent history. And Max Muncy was on there because he came up with the A's, was really struggling. The Dodgers took a flyer on him one year as a minor league deal, and now look where he's at. He's won 3 World Series with them, 2020, and then he was there in 24 and 25. So, and he's an on-base machine. So
he's like, it's crazy because there's so many big names in that lineup that you almost forget about him. But he'll hit 7th, and it's like, you know, he'd be most other teams 4 hitters, you know, right.
So,
and still, you know, still sticking it at the hot corner too.
Yeah,
man.
And he can play first base too if they need him to. You know, they don't with Freddie because he's, you know, reliable over there. He's always, for the most part, he's always healthy. He's always out there. But Muncy's he's solid, man. And
then the other part of that is the you know, the do it all. Kike Hernandez is just he's been that low key backbone for the team in some playoff runs. I mean, we talked about it last October, but he turns into a different animal in the playoffs. 100%. And I think it was game 1 of the World Series. I remember texting you, Al, and I was like, did Kike just put them on the board again, man? And you sent me, you know, some of his numbers, his playoff numbers, and they were, you know, they're insane. He's just
his OPS
won a World Series MVP, man. Like,
he's the guy. OPS jumps like 100 points when October rolls around. He's like, his OPS in October is like over 800, which is well above league average. So, and he's also like,
and he just bounces around the diamond too, man. Like you could put him essentially anywhere. He's so valuable to this team, and he's on top of it, he's a vibes guy. Like he's always having fun. So
I love that. He's also a 3-time World Series champ. He's been in the World Series 5 times. He was on the 2017 and 2018 LA teams that lost to the Stros and the Red Sox. Won it all in 2020 with the Dodgers. Went to Boston for a couple of years, came back to LA, and won it all in 24 and 25. So
was he more experience. Wasn't he part of that 2018 Boston run?
No, he was in LA. He was on the Dodgers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was on the. I thought the same thing. That's why I looked it up. He was on the team in like 21, 22, and half of 23 with Boston.
Oh, so then disregard my comments about the World Series MVP. Maybe it was.
That was Steve Pearce. Yeah, that was Steve Pearce.
Legend.
So just as random as like a Kike would have been. But he's Pearce
came out of nowhere and mashed those like modified baseballs.
Yeah,
Brett that allowed Brett Gardner to hit almost 30 bombs.
Yeah, exactly. No, and I like, this past postseason, I found myself rooting for Kike Hernandez, but 9 times out of 10, dude, I like hate Kike Hernandez. Not because of him at all, like his personality, whatever. He is the epitome of the guy that like you want on your team, and if he's not on your team, you can't stand him.
Right.
And also, like, it doesn't help.
Loud and flashy.
Yeah, but he's also a Yankee killer, and like he plays for the Dodgers and for the Red Sox for a majority of his career. So like he probably hates the Yankees in general too. So like being a diehard Yankees fan, I can't stand the dude. Right. But I do enjoy, you know, rooting for him in October when the Yankees are out of it, because he just turns it on, man. It's just awesome to see.
Yeah, he's fun to watch, man. I'm upset we're not going to be able to see him with Team Puerto Rico in the WBC this year, man.
Yeah, me too, because he would shine bright there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I loved the last WBC. They all did the blonde hair.
Yep.
Kike was having a great time with the boys.
Yeah,
I love both those moves for the Dodgers, man. It just seems like they're a step ahead of every club right now, and just the way they're paying their guys. It just I know, you know, with their TV deal, with the you know, the massive deal they have with the Japanese industry is I know they're able to do a lot of things that maybe your Kansas City Royals might not be able to do, right? But it just seems like they're a step ahead with the deferrals they're making, you know, prioritizing these guys that have just been staples in their lineup, and then, you know, being able to add guys like Shohei and Kyle Tucker. It just shows you that their method of bringing these guys in and building a team right now is just a little advanced.
And they're like, they're doing things that everybody is able to do. Like every team is allowed to do these things. It's not a matter of these teams don't have enough money, they can't spend it. It's a matter of their ownership doesn't want to spend it.
Right.
Manny Machado came out and was like, I fucking love it. I think it's great for the game. Everybody should do this.
He said everybody should do it. Yeah.
And he's not, and he's a Padre. Like he's a rival of the Dodgers. If anything, he hates the Dodgers. You know, he wants to beat them just as bad as everybody else.
And listen, the more you win, the more money you're going to bring in.
Exactly. Look at how much money the Blue Jays were able to spend this offseason, or willingly able to spend. They've always been able to spend it, but now they had more because they just went to the World Series.
Yeah, I mean, listen, with the the collective bargaining agreement coming to an end, and having to come to terms on a new contract coming up after this year, there's going to be a lot of things that I think are gonna change, and maybe we do see teams like the White Sox or the Rockies or something making more of these moves. I know the Rockies got burned with the Chris Bryant deal. They went out and tried to spend, and it just went horribly wrong. But I'm all for change, man. I'm all for these smaller market teams trying to make a splash. The last thing I want to do is turn it into the NBA where you got like these super teams forming and there's like the same 4 or 5 teams, because it's just not that it's going to make baseball boring, but like to your maybe diehard fans, it's like, you're a diehard fan of
the Pirates,
say the Twins, the White Sox, the Pirates. It's like, you're almost not investing your energy and time into your team anymore.
Yeah, because you're like, all right, well, I'm a Pirates fan, but is this the year that they trade Paul Skeens, or is it next year? Like,
right. When does Skeens become a Dodger or Yankee or Blue Jay, whatever?
Exactly, and that's going to be the name of the game unless something changes. And I don't think like the salary cap is the issue. I think it would be more of a floor type of thing.
Absolutely.
But we could talk about that forever.
Yeah, we're gonna move into that because we definitely have some off the field news that's been going around. But just gonna hammer through some of these other signings. Luis Rengifo signs with the Brewers, kind of like the Caleb Durbin-esque replacement a little bit. Rengifo's a guy that you could move him all around the infield, switch hitter. Career numbers are pretty solid.
He's an average big leaguer.
Yeah, I think it's a good fit for them. He's a guy that at the deadline there were a lot of talks about. So, he found a home on a 1-year deal with the Brew Crew. The Brewers always just seem to get the most out of guys like this. So we'll see. I mean, they had the most wins in the MLB last year. Can they replicate kind of what they what they put on the field last year?
Definitely.
And then, go ahead.
I was gonna say it'll be interesting. They always, like you said, they find a way to do something. They're like the Rays with pitching, and even if the Rays have a bunch of nobodies, a lot of times they can still really compete. Yeah. So
they just piece it together, man.
Yeah,
and they just extended.
They
just extended Pat Murphy through the 2028 season. So
that's good for them. Love that.
It's a good time to be a Brewers fan, man. You got some top prospects coming up too. You get Jackson Chourio is 22 years old, and you get to watch him grow.
Him in WBC and with Team
the Miz. You got the Miz pumping 102 off the mound. They brought Woodruff back on the qualifying offer.
Yeah,
and like they do this all the time. They dealt Freddie Peralta. They dealt Corbin Burns years ago.
Yeah,
and it just does not seem to impact them all that much.
Exactly.
They just seem to get the most out of the guys that they get in return. So
yeah, absolutely.
Good time for the Brew Crew. I know Freddie was obviously beloved there, but you get Brandon Sproat and Jet Williams back in that deal. I think those are two guys that are going to probably shine there, and the Mets will probably regret trading them just like they did PCA.
Yeah.
But speaking of the Mets, they brought Mike Tauchman in on a minor league deal. Tauchman's obviously a longtime veteran. He was with the White Sox, the Yankees. Believe played overseas for a little while.
Yeah, he was with the Giants at some point.
Giants.
I think there's probably another West Coast team in there that I'm forgetting.
Yeah. But just, lefty bat adds depth. They also brought in MJ Melendez, who was, formerly put together a pretty decent couple years in KC, and then it kind of all fell apart. So, also right now they got, go ahead.
With him, that's a guy, he's like a catcher, like outfielder.
Very rare.
Yeah, it's something you don't see every day. So I always thought that was pretty cool. I remember picking him up in fantasy because he could he might not catch every day, but he's going to play in the outfield and he can run.
You could plug him into the catching spot.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I actually love both additions because right now they have a rookie top prospect Carson Benj slated to start in right field with Soto moving over to left. I think it just gives you a little bit of security if Benj kind of starts to struggle in the beginning of the year, or if they feel like he needs a little more time in AAA. You could throw Talkman or Melendez in right field, and you or Tyrone Taylor, and you have those guys on the bench.
Yep.
And it kind of just gives you depth and, a little bit of veteran presence, two guys that have kind of been there before. I like the deal. I like basically everything the Mets did this offseason.
Me too, honestly.
There were a lot of moves that I'm like, man, I wish the Yankees signed Bo Bichette. I wish the Yankees traded for Freddie Peralta.
Yeah.
But, besides the fact that you got a couple guys playing out of position, I think that they put together a really good roster.
Yeah, I do too. I agree with that. And then Padres stuff, they extended AJ Preller, their general manager, recently, who is a notorious big spender and also known prospect hater, I guess you could say. He's traded away a good amount of prospects. If you don't know that, look up AJ Preller's trade history and see all of the big names.
Mackenzie Gore, CJ Abrams, Leo DeVries, there's
and then big name guys. I mean, yes, he gets Fernando Tatis back in some of them, but Trey Turner was one of the prospects that he had traded away as well. So it's some funny stuff there. But speaking of Turner, Phillies, the Padres bring in ex-Philly Nick Castellanos on a 1-year deal. So another prove-it deal for him. Herman Marquez, that's another arm. Ty France and Walker Buehler as well. Both on minor league deals. I know Walker was Ty France too?
Buehler and France are both on minor league deals.
So those, again, a bunch of prove-it deals, really, for all those guys. But Ty France, corner guy, first baseman, he can hit. He has some pop. Castellanos, we know that he can hit the ball, but defensively is a liability. If Buehler can stay healthy, man, he's got upside.
Yeah, definitely. And Buehler's still young and
exactly.
Forget that 2 years ago he was pitching really key innings in the World Series. I know last year it didn't look pretty in Boston, and then he went to Philly and it didn't look good there either. But this is a guy, former top prospect out of Vandy.
Was getting Cy Young votes, finishing top 10 at least in a year or two. And in 2024, he got the last out of the World Series for the Dodgers against the Yankees. So he was pitching those big innings. That's for sure.
Yeah. And then what you ask yourself, what can Herman Marquez do outside of Coors? The Coors effect plays. Yeah. Can this guy provide them, if anything, just innings, man?
Yep.
They brought back Mike King. They still got Pavetta there. They still got a little bit of a rotation. I know Yu Darvish is kind of out for the year. Joe Musgroves is coming back. So, they got some guys there. Maybe they're just looking to get some back end innings. I know Randy Vasquez is a guy who came over in the Soto trade from the Yanks. He's a guy that they're looking for from innings. But if Buehler and Marquez, they're two MLB vets that could give you innings. And if they could kind of turn into something, they give you decent numbers out of the 5 spot in their rotation. I think that is seen as a win coming over on these cheap and minor league deals.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And then Ty France is just a guy that's mashed lefties in his career. He was on the Blue Jays for I know he didn't get run in the playoffs, but he was part of the Blue Jays, all the good things they did last year. So, like you said, a lot of prove-it deals here, man. And you got Manny, you got Jackson Merrill, you got Tatis. Yep. See if they could build something around those guys.
Yeah, I'm looking now on StatMuse, just out of curiosity, Herman Marquez home road split. So he spent his whole career in Coors, in Colorado till this point. So at home in Colorado at Coors Field, his ERA is 5.17. On the road, it drops almost a run. It's at 4.22. So there's some upside there. I mean, I would take a 4.22 over a 5.17. So,
Yeah, and I mean, you average that out. That's like a mid-4 ERA to get that out of a 5-starter. I think the Padres would take that.
He would, at that point, a mid-4 your league average in this day and age. Yeah. So you'll take that. So that's awesome for them. We'll see how that goes. The Blue Jays acquired Jesus Sanchez in a trade with the Astros, sending Joey Loperfido to Houston. Blue Jays needed some outfield depth. Same with Houston, so it kind of flip-flop there. So nothing really to write home about. There's Jesus Sanchez I know more about than Joey Loperfido, but
so Joey Loperfido is kind of like he's like a platoon guy. You know, like a bench piece, but right now I think he's like an odd man. He was like an odd man out in Toronto.
Yeah.
After they brought over Okamoto and they kind of have their outfield filled out there a little bit.
Yeah.
And then
adding outfield, so
adding Jesus Sanchez after the Anthony Santander injury, I think was a pretty big
definitely
acquisition there. It kind of gives them a little bit of pop in the lineup there, a little more pop than Loperfido would provide, but
it'll be
I like the trade for both sides. It kind of made sense.
I agree with that. All right, getting into, we hinted at it earlier, some like off the field, so to speak, stuff. We talked about like the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement that is up after the season. A lot of people are talking lockouts coming, so on and so forth. Well, the collective bargaining agreement and everything is between the MLB Players Association and MLB. So it's like the owners and the players, essentially. The executive director of the Players Association for a long time now has been Tony Clark. However, he's a former big leaguer. However, he has resigned. And it came about that he resigned due to alleged misuse of funds and an inappropriate relationship with his sister-in-law. And you might be thinking, why does it matter if he is having an inappropriate relationship with his sister-in-law? His sister-in-law worked for MLBPA. So whole lot to unpack there. But they did just announce the longtime second in command. I can't remember his name. So if you have it, Rand, feel free to jump in there. But they did replace Tony Clark already. And the guy that they replaced him with has been involved in the MLBPA for years now and has pretty much been like the right-hand man to Tony Clark. So it's not like it's somebody random. It's somebody that's been there and they know what they're doing. But yeah,
I believe his name is Bruce Meyer.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was the number 2 for a while. So
yes, he was who many people expected to kind of jump into that role. But yeah, no, like you said, man, it became an issue when you hire your said family member. And then now that relationship becomes an inappropriate work relationship. So, obviously there's a ton of investigation going on in this. I feel like we haven't heard, all of it yet, but, between the alleged misuse of funds is massive. It's just it's not a great look with everything that's said to come at the end of this year. But do I think it's going to impact the collective bargain agreement to the point where it forces us to miss games essentially? I don't think so. I think that a lockout is probably destined to come regardless, but it doesn't mean that we have to miss games next year.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not a great look. Hopefully these guys can kind of get things figured out, and the new regime could kind of set us in the right direction here moving forward.
Yeah, let's hope so. I mean, we don't want to miss any games. I don't feel like there's going to be a lockout. I think something will get figured out. I don't think we're going to miss games, but that could just be me being optimistic. So we'll see what happens with that. Obviously, we'll have updates on all that as it comes, and throughout the season we'll have all of our episodes. But this off season might be a little more interesting, heading into 2027. So we'll keep an eye on that stuff. Switching over to WBC, Mark DeRosa, the manager for Team USA, had an interview with Joel Sherman of the New York Post. Obviously, as we kind of figured, his first calls for Team USA were to Paul Skeens and Aaron Judge. So, 2 good ones to start with. That's
yes.
That's
so, so what I thought was pretty awesome with the Judge segment, and if you guys haven't seen this interview, go check it out. DeRosa's awesome, former player, just sees the game really well.
Yep. Oh. There we go. We're back.
Yeah, my bad. I don't know what happened. My Chrome just literally shut down.
Oh, no worries.
So but anyway, so I was saying, as I was saying, if you haven't had a chance to go check out the interview with Joel Sherman on the New York Post, definitely go check it out. Mark DeRosa is an awesome guy, former player, just sees the game really well. Provides a really good insight for, putting this roster together, this super talented, like, superstar roster, right?
Yep.
So yeah, I think, being a Yankee fan, and Ali, you could relate to this, but one of the big reasons that they got Judge, so they actually reached out to Judge in 23 to try to play, but he was going through his free agency. At the time, he just didn't feel it was the right time to invest his energy into the WBC. So he, Andy Pettit, who's actually on the staff, one of the pitching coaches there, was one of the guys who was really intricate in getting Judge back early, Judge being the first one to actually be announced for the team. So Pettit, obviously Yankees, a beloved Yankee, in my mind, certainly a future Hall of Famer. I think he should already be in the Hall, but yeah, I think it was awesome that Pettit just played a huge role in getting Judgy there, and having Judgy on that team just, I think, kind of like cements, how they built everything around, because who doesn't want to play with a monster like Judge, or who doesn't want to pitch behind, Skeens, who I believe it's in 55 MLB starts, he's allowed only 71 earned runs.
Yep.
And
then you got Skubal,
Joe. Yeah, you're able to bring in Skubal, guys like Logan Webb, Joe Ryan.
Even Bryce Harper had his interview and with, some Philly reporters down in Clearwater, and he was like, having a guy like Aaron Judge hit in front of me or hit behind me, wherever it was, he was like excited for that.
Right.
Like,
right.
You don't get that every day.
It's the same thing you've heard from, like, when Soto came over to the Yankees. He's like, it's pretty fun to hit behind or in front of Judge.
Yeah.
Right? You're probably going to see some good pitches when you gotta pitch to Judge either right after or right before another guy. So
yeah, exactly.
Definitely awesome that he set the tone. They built an absolute squad around those two guys. I'm super excited for it.
Me too.
Another thing he harped on was, a lot of people asked, like, why is Mike Trout not on this team? They tried like hell to get Mike Trout on this team. It just so happens that with the injury issues that have gone on in the later years of Trout's career here, that he wasn't really able to get his insurance issues cleared, and get the insurance that needed to put him on this roster. So this will be, WBC without Trout. Trout, obviously Captain America. Would have loved to see him on this team, but he passes the torch over to Judge. He's going to be rooting these guys on. D-Row, was obviously very adamant about how hard he tried to get Trout on this team. It just it never came to fruition. And then if you haven't checked out our Walk It Off Yanks page, go check it out. I talked a little bit about this over there, but Cody Bellinger was a guy that they tried to reach out and grab, but with the way his free agency broke down, it didn't really make sense for him to come over and join this team. He really wanted to dedicate all his time and his energy to the Yanks, and he felt it was only fair to give the Yankees his 100% with how his free agency went and how late he signed. So as a Yankee fan, I love that. I love Belly. Would have loved to see him on this team, but you instead get to see a replacement for Corbin Carroll being Roman Anthony, the uber talented, going to be year 2 for the Red Sox. I mean, was the number 1 prospect in baseball last year. a young stud, young star in the making, kind of cool. We'll see if he gets his run. You still got PCA, Buxton, Judge out there, so see where Rome gets his run. I'm sure he'll get a couple at bats here and there, but
yeah. I saw this next part here about Trey Turner, obviously World Baseball Classic hero last time for us.
Grand Slam against Venezuela in the semifinal.
Yeah. He was quoted saying that he never received a call to come join the team. So it was interesting listening to reading about D-Row going into detail on that, stating that so last time this happened back in 2023, it was Turner starting and Bobby Witt Jr. coming off the bench. Since then, Bobby Witt Jr. has kind of erupted as like the best shortstop in baseball. So D-Row thought it was Bobby Witt's time to shine, and he couldn't justify bringing in Trey Turner to have him sit behind Bobby Witt Jr. So I understand that to an extent. I don't know if Trey's offended, but I feel like he really shouldn't be, because he would want to go there and play every day. I'm sure he probably wouldn't care, because he would just be with the guys, like helping them win and finish business, the unfinished business that was from a couple years ago. But I mean, I totally agree with D-Row here. Like, I don't think that you can bring in Trey Turner, because even if you brought him in, like Bobby Witt Jr. is a starting shortstop for this team. Like that's all it is. So I don't care what you do after that, but you ain't benching Bobby Witt.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, like you said, I mean, I would argue Bobby Witt's probably a top.
He's probably top 3 player or 4 player in the game.
Top 3, yeah. So you're not benching him. My only argument against it is maybe you could have put Turner at second. I know you got Bryce Harper and Gunnar Henderson there, but if you listen to the interview, D-Row is very adamant about like stating that he built this roster specifically to complement each other. Yeah. You bring Turner in, and it kind of makes the lineup a little too right-handed, I believe.
Yeah, it's true.
You got obviously Cal Rowley's a switch hitter, but against the lefty, you got him. Obviously Bobby Witt the righty, Judge, Buxton. You bring Trey Turner, and that's 5 righties right there.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on who's playing third for them right now. Oh, Bregman. Bregman's a righty as well. So
yeah.
I mean, you're trying
the only true lefties you have at that point are like PCA and Bryce Harper.
Yeah. So I totally understand it. Totally justified. Listen, Trey Turner's a great player. It's nothing against him. It's just, it is Bobby Witt's time to shine, man. Bobby Witt is like, he's been number 2 or 3 in the MVP voting for the last like 3 years. So
yeah. I'd say we said that he's probably like top 3. I mean, at the very least, he's a top 5, because you got Ohtani and Judge 1 and 2, however you want to put them. Bobby Witt could slide in at 3. Jose Ramirez could slide in at 3, and then Bobby Witt's 4. So like, he's at least a top 4 player in the game. Like, that would be my top 4, would be those guys in whatever order you want to put Shohei and Judge.
Did you mention Soto?
I didn't mention Juan Soto, but he would be in the top 5.
I would throw Soto up there maybe. I know his defense is a little bit of a liability, but
either way,
he's one of the best pure hitters.
There.
Yeah, right. Witt is up there. I mean, it's it's not a knock towards Trey, and it's going to sound like it, but he brings you everything Trey brings you at a higher rate, in my opinion.
And I think it's because he's younger.
Yeah.
So like Trey, I wouldn't say that Trey is in his prime still.
No. So, and you know what, with everything that kind of went around in the Phillies locker room with the Castellanos stuff, I think it's probably good for Trey to be there and to be around the team. And like, they obviously don't have Harper or Schwarber there for spring. So like, to have a vet like Trey in your spring, and you got some minor league guys that could be with him, that's cool.
I forgot about Schwarber. So their two lefties would be Bryce, Schwarber, and PCA. Totally forgot about Kyle Schwarber.
No,
I'm excited
about Schwarbs.
Yeah, I know. I'm fake for that. I'm going to hear about it. No, I'm excited for it, man. I think that they've made the right call. The team is loaded. I really just can't wait to sit in front of my TV like a little kid, like in a candy store, man, and just watch. It's going to be awesome.
Absolutely.
But moving off that, shooting through some injuries, we had Pablo Lopez on here. I did see before we hopped on that it is confirmed he has a torn UCL and he's going to have to get surgery to fix it. Whether they didn't specify TJ or Tommy John, they just said UCL surgery. You can only assume it's going to be Tommy John surgery. So he's done for the year. So that sucks for the Twins.
That's a major blow for the Twins
because they were already going to struggle as is. You know, spoiler alert, they're not good. So
yeah, and they notoriously did not spend this offseason. So
yeah, it was bad.
Maybe you look to get big innings out of guys like Simeon Woods Richardson.
Yeah. Joe Ryan's back there.
Joe Ryan, obviously.
He immediately becomes their ace.
Yeah, and he's going to be a team USA WBC guy, so he's going to be built up.
Yeah. And I love Joe Ryan. And you
got like Bailey Oberst still there. They still got a couple guys, but it's that's a major blow, man. Pablo Lopez is
if they're both if him and Joe Ryan are both healthy and on their game, I mean that's a great 1-2 combo right there. They could both earn Cy Young votes in any given season. So
absolutely, and it was only a couple years ago you were watching Pablo Lopez shove into playoffs. So that's a big loss, man. Twins fans, keep your head up.
Yeah, hopefully it gets better.
I don't think it could get worse than last year. How last year ended for them, but hey, maybe it gives some young guys a shot. I know they got a guy named Walker Jenkins, their number one prospect, and obviously he's a bat, but maybe they start losing games and you start getting some of the young guys some at bats and stuff, and
definitely
at least get some excitement out of some prospects there.
Yeah, for sure.
And Mick Abel too. He's a guy that came over from Philly last year.
That's right.
In the Durant trade.
Yeah. He was a good piece of that. So he should be. Phillies fans were high on him for a while until Andrew Painter kind of came into the mix.
Yeah.
So
and then moving forward, the Braves kind of got hit with a little bit of unluckiness. So Hurston Waldrop came up as a rookie last year. Looked to have frontline starter stuff out of the gates. Unfortunately, felt soreness in his elbow. It's always scary, and especially right after Spencer Schwellenbach just kind of came out with the same news. They did both just have surgery to remove loose bodies in the elbow. At the moment, I'm not too sure of their timeline. Yankees fans could kind of relate to this. I believe this is pretty similar to what Garrett Cole went through in 2024. Which, listen, with Cole was great. He got to pitch in a World Series, but then inevitably the next year he tears his UCL and needs Tommy John. So you always hope when you see, you don't want to think of it as a patch job. You want to think of it as like, they got the surgeries and now they're building their elbows back up. And hopefully the UCL is structured correctly after you remove the loose bodies. But it is always like a little bit of a scare when you hear elbow soreness and UCL damage.
Yeah. And it stinks for the Braves because they had so many injuries last year too. And then they got off to such a slow start. They just couldn't recover.
Yeah, and their lineup is awesome, man.
I am seeing that Waldrop was more than likely going to open the season in AAA. So it hurts them more in the depth department as opposed to their opening day roster. So they have, because I'm reading here, Bryce Elder and Joey Wentz are both out of minor league options. So it was widely expected to have Waldrop begin the season in AAA. So it doesn't hurt them immediately, but it hurts them depth-wise moving forward, especially with Ha-Sung Kim out already as well to miss at least a month or two or whatever it is. So stinks for the Braves fans. They just can't seem to escape that injury bug going back to the beginning of last year. So
and then our last one that I kind of neglected to throw on this show doc right here is Jordan Westburg.
Yeah, they were talking about it during the game today. I didn't even realize that. That sucks.
Yeah, so coming right off of Jackson Holiday breaking his hamate bone, you lose your second baseman, and you got a guy like Jeremiah Jackson who came up last year and provided some good at bats out of the lineup, but then you lose your starting third baseman as well, Jordan Westburg, to an elbow injury. Expected to be sidelined through at least April. Pretty big blow. I mean, you get guys like Kobe Mayo, who was a big prospect for them for a long time. Maybe he gets his opportunity and maybe he can kind of plug in that needed depth there, but definitely a big blow to lose your opening day starting third baseman, starting second baseman here.
Yeah, he has a partial tear in his UCL, so he's out for the entire month of April, and then the timeline is still to be determined because they don't know what the next move is. So they don't know if he's going to need surgery or what.
You could imagine there could be Tommy John there.
Yeah, which for a position player doesn't take as long to recover. It still obviously will, but he's not throwing like crazy. I mean, we saw Bryce get TJ in his throwing arm, and he was back. Or was it his throwing arm?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So
Jason Dominguez, another guy that had
Dominguez, yeah, and Bryce was able to DH, so you could get Westberg back sooner than normal. Maybe not playing third base, but he would, take up that DH spot if they really wanted him back, which means that somebody would be odd man out in terms of Basayo and Rutschman there, and Tyler O'Neill even. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. Like you said, Kobe Mayo, this is a spot for him to shine. He had a solid September last year to end the season. He ended it hot, had 5 homers, I think, in that month. I believe it was him. It was either him or Westberg that I was looking at with their stats in September, but both had solid ends to the season. So, and I think Jeremiah Jackson, like you said, too.
Yeah, and I think the way they built this roster, too, in the past couple of years with how good their farm was, I think definitely helps with having depth pieces here that could, kind of keep them in a division race, wild card race through, hopefully April when, if, barring good news, Westbrook comes back, Holiday. And Holiday, the Ham 8-bone stuff, we covered it last week, but you could see Holiday back early April.
Yeah.
He's not opening day. I doubt it, but
I don't think it'll be opening day. But he's not going to be like out for all of April. He'll still play like probably north of 130 games.
Right.
So as long as he doesn't get injured elsewhere.
Al, before moving forward here and wrapping up with this, I just want to remind everybody: spring training did start. We got a full slate of games tomorrow. So go out. Even if it's not. Maybe you have a prospect on a different team that you don't root for that you're following. Go out and watch spring ball. That's what it's for. These guys are getting at bats. Like we spoke briefly after the Yankees spring training game, but Pete Alonso hit a ball basically as far as you can hit in February.
Yeah.
So just cool to see guys, swinging the stick again. Guys throwing a rock. And just go out, watch, a prospect, watch a guy that's fighting to make the roster team. There's always good stories in spring.
Yeah, my guy Nolan Arenado, first AB homer.
Hey, out in the desert, baby.
Out in the desert. So
let's go.
Hoping he has a good year this year. But we
that's baseball dad right there.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, man. So I'm sure some people might have seen it already. We already dropped the Rockies. The roster review series. The Rockies is out. We're going to be moving forward with all that stuff, trying to get some episodes out weekly. Randy and I both ranked each team 1 through 30. Surprised we had an identical top 6, I think it was. So I say surprised, but not really a surprise there. So we took the average of all that stuff and we're dropping the videos from 30 down to 1. Number 30 was the Rockies. I think we were both unanimous on that as well.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for those weekly. We'll go over everything for, guys that these teams brought in, guys that they lost, their like over under for win totals, how many wins they had last year. Just, things that you can look out for. Guys to look out for, because each team, they might not be a great team, but each team has at least 1 or 2 guys, so locking
that over on the rocks, man. 52.5. I think that's one of the lowest over unders I've seen on a baseball.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That means they're giving them like 110 losses.
110 losses.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, lock that over in.
Yeah, I might have to. I hit with the A's last year it was like 72.5 or something. So
I'm eager to see, what we take for the A's this year, man. I hope you guys tune in and can see us talk some ball about your team, man.
We'll have another one dropping this week, at least one. It'll be spoiler alert, it'll be the Angels, Los Angeles Angels as the 29th ranked team, and then we'll continue going all the way, like we said, until we get to number 1. So we want to get at least one out weekly. And hopefully it should lead us into the season. So we should be able to get those out before the season officially starts. If we can't, it might just be a game or two into the regular season, but it won't be too bad. But I'm sure everybody knows who the number 1 ranked team is anyway. So don't have to listen to us talk about them. You don't have to worry about it. But yeah, I mean, keep an eye out for that. It's going to be cool stuff. Enjoy doing the research for that, talking about those teams. And if you think that we rank your team too low, let us know and tell us why, because we're interested. You know your team better than we do. So
absolutely. Definitely. Zach Neto, future New York Yankee.
Hopefully, man. I would love that.
All right, guys. This was fun.
Yep.
Go watch some USA hockey, man. Semifinals on right now on Peacock.
Yeah, we just brought home gold with the women's yesterday, so let's get into the gold medal and win it again. Let's take down Canada.
Go beat those Canadians, man.
Yeah, exactly. All right, fellas. Everybody, peace.